So I started my entrepreneurial and self-improvement journey probably about 2 years ago. And ever since I started that journey, this is kind of what my productivity looked like. So I started out with just a little wind of, productivity and movement. And then I kind of went down after the motivation went away. And slowly over time, I built my way up. And for the most part, I've kind of had these weird dips in productivity where I spend 3 solid weeks grinding and hustling. And then week 4, I just ruin it, or 5 days where I work super hard and then I just destroy it. And so there were a couple bad habits that were getting in my way, and those were the things that were holding me back. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about those bad habits, how to fix bad habits in your life, what could be the cause of them, and then how to switch them into something productive. If you don't know who I am, my name's Steven. I make this channel for business owners and people who want to improve themselves. And so I'm hoping that this helps you out. If it does, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I make videos all the time just like this. By the end of this video, if you follow along and do this exercise and write it down at the same time with me, you will be able to change those bad habits and immediately see improvements in your productivity. Also, I'm going to be going over some tips on how to maintain those good habits and keep out those bad habits long term. So if you want to see how that works, stick around to the end of the video. The first thing that we're going to want to do is find the habit. Now, you know what your habit is. You know what the bad habit is that prevents you from doing important things, that prevents you from being a better person, that prevents you from, like I don't have to sit here and tell it to you, but here, I'll just give you a couple of quick ones. We have definitely social media is a bad one. The reason why, if you don't understand why these habits are bad, it's taking your focus away and you continue to do them and you're not producing the work that you should be doing. It's very important to eradicate, not limit, but eradicate these things from your life. Social media is a big one. Video games, porn, alcohol. I'm not going to go into a lot of them, but I'm going to actually, since I wrote it down, we're going to use social media and video games for this exercise. Now, your second step is to figure out what your cues are for these. Now, James Clear has a book called Atomic Habits. If you never read it, I would definitely check it out. But there are 4 parts to a habit that James Clear mentions in his book. All right, so your 4 parts are cue, craving, response, and reward. And what you want to do here is we're going to first focus on the cue. We'll get to the rest of these later in further steps, but let's first focus on the cue. So when looking for cues in problems in my life, I always look towards resistance. And this is a concept developed by Charlie Morgan, one of my favorite entrepreneurs and YouTubers. His concept is that resistance is anything that prevents you from completing your goal, and resistance will find a way to manifest itself to keep you from becoming the future version of yourself that is capable of whatever you're looking to achieve. And so your current you is going to fight with resistance. Your future you fights with the work. And so resistance can take many forms. I'm going to write down a couple forms of resistance right now so that way you have an understanding of what some of these resistance cues might be for you. So right now I've just written down all of these resistance cues. This is like 10 of the 30 that Charlie Morgan talked about on his channel in this specific video that I saw like months ago, and that has increased my productivity tenfold, learning these resistance cues. I'm going to write down all of the resistance cues in the description, but here's a list of like 10 of them. We have addiction, anxiety, warped priorities, justification, denial, burnout, procrastination, entitlement, routine, identity, and boredom. And so these are just a couple of cues. Again, I'm going to put the rest in the description, but I'm going to go ahead and use these 2 habits, and we're going to find the resistance cue that created that, right? So what could be the thing that makes you want to do social media? Like really think about it. Sit down, spend some time and think about which one or multiple resistance cues creates this social media attack, like doing social media. The first one I can think of for sure is burnout. So you get tired, you don't want to do your work anymore, and so burnout becomes your excuse. Plus, I would say probably procrastination. Those are the 2 that probably hit me the most. So we have burnout and we have procrastination create this social media craving, right? So the cue to this is social media, or sorry, the cue here is burnout or procrastination, and the response is social media. Okay, so now that we've done that, the next step that we need to do is find the craving. Okay, or like fill in the gaps here. Okay, so step 3, I don't know where to write this. Step 3 is to fill in gaps. So we figured out what these 2 things are that are the problem. Now we need to find what the craving and the reward is. So what I can say for myself, what the craving is usually is instant gratification or dopamine, right? Dopamine is the craving. I just want free dopamine. Like it's free. Think about it. And so I have this like impulse, say, or you know what? Let's back it up some more. The craving is I'm bored. I don't want to do this. Like it's thinking, it's my thought process, right? So thoughts, like I have craving thoughts around social media. The first thing that happens is the burnout, and then the craving is I don't really feel like doing this. I wish I was doing something else. Let me just check my phone really quickly, right? We can even put like check phone. I don't know if you've ever done this before, but you're like, oh well, let me just see if someone texted me. You check that, and all of a sudden, the next minute you're scrolling on social media, and the reward is free dopamine, right? It's instant dopamine. You didn't earn this dopamine; you just get it automatically. Okay, and so the next step is to find a replacement. So you have to replace the habit with something else, because if you don't replace the habit, you're going to just continue doing it at some point. You're going to do it again, right? You have a certain time block in your day, and you want to cut that time block. You want to cut a part of that time block where you watch social media or whatever it is that you do completely away. You have to replace it with something else, or you're just going to go right back to the habit. So what are we going to do to replace that? We have to reverse engineer it and look back. So you want free dopamine. So how can we get dopamine as quickly as possible without looking at social media? Maybe that could be a way. Like again, these are just ideas that I'm spitting out. You can come up with your own way to do this. I know what I chose, and I like the thing that I chose, and I'm going to use that in this video. But the thing here is burnout, all right, and procrastination. That's the cue, okay? So I know that if I think that I'm having burnout, or that I think that I am procrastinating, or I start procrastinating, it's because of my thoughts, okay? This is all because of my thoughts. The only reason I look at my phone is because I'm thinking about looking at my phone, and that whatever I'm doing is too hard. And so what I've been able to replace that with is meditation, okay? Not in a moment, but over time, because I know that meditation can help me calm my thoughts and help me stay on a direct path and stay focused. And so what I decided to do, what my quick fix for this was, I now meditate for 20 minutes a day, every day when I wake up in the morning. I started 3 days ago or 2 days ago, and today I actually meditated for 40 minutes. Now I have meditation experience. I wouldn't start meditating for 20 minutes a day without serious experience in meditation. If you don't meditate, then I would recommend starting small with like 3 to 5 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes of meditation, and start to get into the routine of doing it every single day. But I have previous experience, and so I'm meditating for 20, 30, 40 minutes a day, and I'm actually logging all of it, and I'm going to post a video about this in a month when I'm finished with my 30 days of meditation for 20 minutes and give you my results from it. But my replacement is meditation. Now, the fifth step is to make everything else impossible. Fortunately enough for us as humans, we are creatures who want to put in the least amount of effort as possible. Intrinsically, we just want to put in the least amount of effort as possible. And so my meditating was me putting the least amount of effort possible into not having burnout and not having thoughts. But remember, checking the phone is the craving. So how can we make that go away? We can put our phone in the other room. So I would put this in the other room, put your phone away. That's what I started doing. I started putting my phone in my closet or putting it in my bathroom or whatever. And then the reward. So how can we make the dopamine reward go away? Perfect example, grayscale your phone. If you grayscale your phone, then it's not interesting and you don't want to look at it. Imagine opening Instagram and seeing black and white text. Like you don't want to do that. I'm actually going to make a video here soon about all the adjustments that I made on my phone. Now I don't have any, like no one can reach me at any time of the day. I can't rise to wake the phone. I have to click the side button, and then the grayscale, and there's a couple of other things I did within my phone to prevent me from looking at it and to prevent me from spending time on it. So I'm going to make a video on that as well here probably in this next week. But yeah, so now we've made this impossible. We've made checking our phone because it's in the other room. We made that impossible. And we've made the dopamine go away because of the grayscale. We've also started meditating in order to prevent burnout. And that's pretty much it right there. The response. Oh, and you can delete social media off your phone. So those are 4 things you can do to stop scrolling on social media. You can grayscale your phone, meditate, put your phone in the other room, and delete social media off your phone. Those are 4 things that you can do. So I just showed you how to prevent social media from being the problem. Now use these same steps with video games and eating like unhealthy foods and watching TV and drinking and smoking, and over time you will start to find that this right here is the perfect way to stop all of them. And over time you will stop. You will stop all of those bad habits, those proclivities that are preventing you from doing the right thing. Now, I want to give you a couple of tips as well at the end of this video. I hope that helped you out. And if it did, go ahead and subscribe. But I'm going to give you some extra tips as well about what I do on top of this stuff that help me keep these habits for long term. So the first thing that you want to do is I don't statements. And I don't statements – is an identity shift. So your identity is your repeated being. And so the things that you repeatedly do create your identity. If you change the things that you do, your identity switches. But if you also change the way you speak to yourself and the way you talk to other people, your identity shifts. So there's a big difference between saying, I don't want to smoke, I'm trying to quit, versus I don't smoke. If someone approaches you with a cigarette and says, hey, you want a cigarette? And you say, I don't smoke, they're not going to keep trying to offer it to you. But if you say, oh, I'm trying to quit, they'll be like, come on, dude, like have a cigarette. Over time, you will break your streak and go back to doing the thing because you tell other people that you are trying to quit. And you tell yourself that you're trying to quit. Don't tell yourself you're trying to quit. Just say, I don't do these things. The second one is I get statements. I get to go to work. I get to read books. I get to meditate. If you are trying to get rid of bad habits, you can say, I get to live life without having to be sucked into social media. I get to save myself from my marriage. I get to not drink alcohol, right? That's a really good way to prevent yourself from doing this stuff. Now, I don't read this kind of shit in the mirror to myself. I don't like really believe in affirmations, but when you just tell yourself this consciously, whenever you have the idea of maybe you're going to go pick up some food off the counter, you say, I don't eat chocolate. Just tell yourself that and you'll stop doing it. Now, the next tip, and this is the last tip, is accountability partner. And this one seemed pretty obvious, but I'm going to go over it anyway. Specifically with social media, my recommendation would be to get your friend or your spouse or your employee or coworker to take the password to your social media accounts. That way you can't access it, and they like change it every once in a while, or they change that little time limit thing on your phone. That's very beneficial. It's something I want to start doing. I haven't because my accountability partner is nowhere near me right now, but that's the new thing that I want to do. But yeah, if you have someone to go to the gym with you, if you have someone to stop smoking nicotine with you, or whatever the bad habit is, you can stop these habits a lot quicker. So yeah, these are my extra tips. I hope that helped you out. If it did, go ahead and leave a like and put your story. Like, what bad habits are you trying to break? You know, if you need any help with some bad habits, maybe I can make a video on it. I'm not perfect, but there are some habits that I've definitely cut out of my life that I couldn't otherwise have done. And I'm telling you, if you follow everything in this video, you will see a significant change in your results, in your identity within the next week or two. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't scroll on social media because it prevents you from doing the things you're supposed to do.